injured in Game 1 of today's doubleheader. For the Bulldogs, they will start in Game 1 a veteran right-hander, the senior from Carrollton, Georgia, Emily Williams.
Low 60s, not quite as a hard thrower. Spinny pitcher, has a rise, curve, and a screwball. Has a good changeup. When she's locating that changeup, Anthony, she's pretty effective, and she's going to have to locate it really well today against these Tennessee hitters. We've talked about Tennessee offensively off the air. They're kind of non-traditional, or I guess traditional, kind of the old school softball. You'll see a lot of bunts and slaps, and they play small ball, if you want to use that term, I guess, to compare it with baseball. So two different teams and what they do in the offensive lineup, and Bulldogs today have got to be really, really good defensively against this Tennessee team.
And there you see the Lady Vol lineup: Ayala, Segern, and Morgan, followed by Shipman here to lead off the top of the first. Williams fires, and we're underway. First pitch at 1:01 p.m. with Ron Alexander, the home plate umpire. The Bulldog battery, Emily Williams in the circle, and Mia Davidson behind the plate. Ball one to Amanda Ayala. Left-handed hitter. She is what I have often referred to, and I don't know if this is the correct term or not, but I like it, so I'll use it. She is a power slapper in that she is a true lefty, not just a right-hander converted to a lefty because she's fast and she was turned into a slapper at some point. She is a true left-handed hitter who can slap if she wants to or needs to, but also has some power. She has 8 home runs on the year.
The key for Emily Williams in the circle today is obviously you don't want to get behind on the count where she is now 2-1. You have to pitch effectively. You have to fill up the zone against these Tennessee hitters.
Swing and a miss. Good job there to even the count at 2-2.
Started off ball one outside, was able to get one fouled off, then missed the zone on the second pitch, and then got a swing and miss there to even things up. So still working for Emily Williams, but Tennessee is one of those teams. They can be behind in the count and still make you pay.
High fly ball, not very deep, left center field. Who's going to get it? Shortstop goes out there, and a nice grab is made by the sophomore Madison Kennedy for out number 1.
Alana, I beg your pardon, just got up under one there and was able to send it to shallow right center field. Shortstop was able to back up and get it. That's a good out for Emily Williams to start this game. But defensively for Mississippi State, they have got to be efficient, as I mentioned. They cannot, they've got to run the right routes of getting balls in play. You can't bobble things against this Tennessee team with their speed.
At the dish now for Tennessee, yet another senior. Boy, it's a senior-heavy squad for Tennessee this year. Chelsea Segern, left-handed hitting senior, 331 hitter on the year. Count even on a ball and a strike.
Yeah, this Tennessee group, a lot of fifth-year seniors, 5 or 6 of their batters in their order that have 150-plus starts. Ranked number 16 coming in. Obviously a program that knows how to win, 7 College World Series appearances.
And they really were, in the early 2000s, one of the first SEC softball programs that really showed that you can win at an elite level in this sport in the Southeast. I mean, it was a West Coast dominated sport for a long time. And in Tennessee, especially around that 04, 05, 06 time frame, they were one of those very first SEC powerhouse programs that showed that, hey, we can get to Oklahoma City on a regular basis and compete for championships once we get there.
You want to work
low and outside, counting out full on Segern.
And that's what Emily Williams is trying to do, is work a little bit low and away against Segern. Right now, though, it's a full count. And see what Emily Williams will come with here to the plate.
Swing and a miss. Nice job to strike out Segern. First K today for E-Dub, as her teammates call her. And there are 2 gone in the top of the first.
Well, showing some confidence there on a 3-2 pitch, coming right at the hitter, Segern. But, of course, I mean, obviously, she's going to be disciplined at the plate. And that's the thing about these Tennessee hitters, discipline 1 through 9 in the lineup. So you got to attack aggressively and didn't want to work down in a way at that point on a 3-2 pitch.
Ashley Morgan hits the first pitch into the gap in right center. Cutting it off nicely and getting it back in plenty of time for the Bulldogs is Spexarth. A solid single, though, a 2-out base hit from Morgan, and Lady Vols are on the bases.
Morgan coming in just a shade under 400 batting average at 395. First pitch slaps it there into right field, and the Bulldogs use the right angle there. As we mentioned, this Tennessee team, 1 through 9 through the lineup, obviously they have some faster players than others, but they're really, really good on the base paths, and you cannot go at bad angles of balls in play.
Tennessee will now have their first right-hander of the day up to face Williams. It is the cleanup hitting catcher, Allie Shipman, a junior, making her 43rd start of the season. Ball gets away from Davidson, and that will allow Morgan to reach second base. And now Tennessee, a 2-out base hit away from possibly scoring a run here in the first inning.
Goes back to what I said, that you've got to pitch it well and you got to be efficient defensively. You can't let these little miscues happen or Tennessee will make you pay for it, and they did there. What you want to do, too, here in this situation against Shipman is you don't want to work up in the zone, and they...
Slow roller out to second, grabbed by Cook and thrown to first. So good job by Emily Williams to get out of the jam.
Yeah, Emily Williams pitched with confidence against Tennessee with their first 4 hitters faced here in the top of the first inning.
We'll go to the bottom of the first right after this in Starkville. We go to the home half of the first in Starkville. No score yet between Tennessee and Mississippi State. Alongside Jason Crowder, I'm Anthony Craven. And Jason, we have in the circle one of the SEC's best this year. For Tennessee, it'll be Ashley Rogers.
Ashley Rogers leads this team, obviously, in the circle, but collectively, the Tennessee Volunteers lead the SEC with a opposing batting average of 163, .125 for Rogers. Rogers has the ability to go up in the zone. She has a curve and screw with upspin. It's surprisingly low with her walks on 30 this year because she uses the strikeout pitch. And a lot of times, you're going to have more walks to your credit.
She has 199 more strikeouts than she does walks. Yes, you heard me correctly. She has she has almost 200 more strikeouts on the year than she does walks. She's facing a Bulldog lineup that has been very potent at times this year, with Chloe Mala'ulu leading things off. The 9-hole hitter, though, Montana Davidson, coming off a great weekend against South Carolina.
Yeah, the bottom of the order actually did really well against South Carolina, kind of flipping the lineup a little bit, getting that confidence-building series win in Columbia.
Mala'ulu, followed by Leilua, and then Carter Spexarth, the top 3 in the order. And then we'll see Mia Davidson hitting cleanup in this half inning if anyone can reach.
And back to Rogers. She has a tied-up spin, close to 2,000 RPMs on her rise ball. Whew. And that's a tough pitch to lay off. That went high in the zone. That's where she gets a lot of her strikeouts.
That was a pitch to hit there from Mala'ulu, and she got out in front of it on a ball a little up and in. So now the count's full on the MSU center fielder, the junior from Long Beach, California, Chloe Mala'ulu. Headed into left, foul ball. Just about 8 or 9 feet from getting an extra base hit there was Mala'ulu.
Mala'ulu with that 3-2 count, being aggressive there at the plate. And if the Bulldogs can do a good job and win the top of the strike zone, I think they're going to be okay today in this doubleheader with Tennessee.
Grounder, third base side, gloved and thrown across in time. Segern at third makes the play. Mala'ulu is retired, and there is 1 gone in the home half of the first.
We talked so much about Tennessee in the circle and how effective they are, and obviously that's where it starts, but Tennessee defensively has been so good this season as well. They do all the little things right. They make the above-average plays. Certainly a very fundamental team.
A team that has not beaten itself very often this year.
And to be successful in the Southeastern Conference, you can't beat yourself. And it goes back to what we were talking about, how State has to play cleanly defensively. Bulldogs weren't hurt in that top of the first, but did have a runner in scoring position, did Tennessee with 2 outs.
Our first look now at Leilua, who hits one, a moonshot out to left, but it's a foul ball, and the count's 1-1.
Out of Hawthorne, California, the 5'9" senior has really changed the culture of Mississippi State softball and where the direction that Coach Samantha Ricketts wants to go with this program, getting her out of Arizona State. Certainly has power. We talked about her finesse, though. She could go the other way, send it into center field on a single if she needs a single, but certainly has that power to get Mississippi State going with the home run ball.
And she also has drawn 42 walks on the season, has only struck out 20 times.
When you bat it as well as she does, obviously you're going to have a few walks to your credit as a hitter. Those 17 homers, a lot of pitchers want to stay away from, certainly, so you have to be careful how you pitch it to foul. A couple of Arizona State transfers on this team and going out on the West Coast from the Pac-12, getting some players to come in and help in the SEC.
She lifts one over the head of Davis, the shortstop. A base hit for Leilua, her team-leading 50th base hit of the season.
That's crazy. Leading Mississippi State in the major offensive categories, hits, batting average, home runs. And you see right there as she takes this pitch and was able to go and pull it into left field just over the shortstop's head, and that just goes back to her finesse. She has power but can also hit for average.
A chance here for the Bulldogs to score first. One on, one gone for Spexarth, who is aggressively swinging at the very first pitch and fouls it right by the third base bag for strike one. The Woodlands, Texas senior Carter Spexarth, she has been a welcomed addition to the everyday starting lineup this year for Coach Samantha Ricketts.
Been very consistent all year, and when teams are walking foul, her production has been very, very important to this team.
318 average on the year, 48 hits, 36 runs driven in. A .563 slugging percentage for the right-hander, who has 10 home runs and 7 doubles. Coming into the year, we all knew how good Leilua and Mia Davidson were, the Thunder and Lightning combo, the two All-Americans from a season ago. But when you talk to Samantha Ricketts and Tyler Bratton coming into the season on the Bulldog coaching staff, and you ask them who are some players that can become that third or fourth hitter, every single time they mention Carter Spexarth. And they said if she gets going, she strikes out here on a good pitch from Rogers. But if she gets going and can be consistent for us offensively, it makes the top half of our lineup really, really good.
Well, certainly special. And this is a lineup, too, that's getting a lot of confidence, too, as the season goes on. We're going to look at the replay here. And, boy, I tell you what, that was just a tough pitch by Rogers. Not really a bad job at the plate there by Spexarth, but Rogers just showing her muscle as a pitcher.
Just blew it right past her.
Tight spin there.
Yeah, first strikeout of the day for Rogers, who has 234 of them now on the season. So with one on and two gone, Mia Davidson will step to the plate, and Davidson has already made a lot of history during her Bulldog career. The senior from Hillsborough, North Carolina. She's one homer away now, Jason, from breaking the all-time home run record, not only for MSU softball. She already holds that record. She's now one home run away from breaking the home run record for either softball or baseball in the history of Mississippi State.
Which is saying a lot because of Mississippi State's program. They're a blue blood in college baseball, and when your name is in the same record book as Rafael Palmeiro, then you're certainly doing something right. And Rafael Palmeiro is the one that nicknamed Fa Leilua and Mia Davidson Thunder and Lightning, because back in 1985, that was Will Clark and Rafael Palmeiro with Mississippi State baseball.
So Thunder and Lightning version 2.0, if you will. Davidson hits one deep to left and up against the wall. Rounding second is Leilua. She will stop there. Stand-up double for Mia Davidson. And the Dogs are in business. They got two on in scoring position after Mia Davidson's 10th double of the year.
Yeah, great piece of hitting by Mia Davidson. Not necessarily swinging for the fences, but gets a line drive just past the left fielder to bounce off the wall. And Davidson able to get Mississippi State in business here in the bottom of the first inning.
And Tennessee will call time. They're going to talk things over on how they want to pitch the Bulldog freshman Addison Purvis, who is due up right now. Purvis, a freshman from Missouri. She was inserted into the starting lineup about the halfway point of the season when Anna Kate Seegers got injured. So Purvis took her spot, and she has been, I think it's fair to say, a surprise for State, hitting .310 as a true freshman.
Well, as assistant coach Tyler Bratton has dubbed her left-handed power stick. She's certainly got one, and with runners at second and third here, and 2 down, she needs to come up clutch here if you're a Mississippi State fan to get the Bulldogs on the board, because it's really important for State to come out and jump on Tennessee early.
We saw over the past weekend the Bulldogs jumped on top early against South Carolina, and it led directly to their first SEC Series victory of the season.
That's important for this team as far as the confidence builders, to not get behind against some of these really good teams that are ranked really high, like Tennessee, 16th in the country, because you know Tennessee's coming in here with a team that's capable of getting to Oklahoma City.
It's certainly a team that is very much in the regional host discussion right now. Swing and a miss. Boy, great job by Rogers. I thought maybe with first base open, she might try to pitch around Purvis some, but she came right at her and got the strikeout to get out of the jam. 2 base hits, but no runs on the board. We are scoreless through 1 in Starkville. We are scoreless through 1 here in Starkville as 17th ranked Tennessee takes on Mississippi State. Game 1 of a scheduled midweek doubleheader here in late season SEC action. Well, we are heading into the last weekend of the regular season, which is hard to believe.
Hard to believe, and it makes you appreciate having a full season. After what happened last season in 2020, it's been so special to have Southeastern Conference sports and sports in general back. And I feel like I'm over in the press box at Dudy Noble Field, and they just brought us some great scrumptious food from the Left Field Lounge. This is kind of something like you would get from out there, wouldn't you?
The service of the sports information staff
just brought us some good food
here at News Park never fails.
About 30 minutes late, but hey, who's complaining?
Bart Gregory would.
Most certainly would.
Riley West, the freshman, will lead things off. A right-handed bat, the 5-hole hitter for Tennessee, followed by Malloy and Hannon. So 5 through 7 due up in the top of the second for the Lady Vols against Emily Williams, who did a good job in the circle in the first inning for State.
Just goes to show you how good Tennessee's lineup is when you have Malloy batting as far down as she does. Now, obviously, Tennessee has their reasons for that, and she fits that role. But this Tennessee team is fun to watch because of the bunting and the slap bunts and things that are a lost art, specifically in baseball. You know, kids, they don't know how to bunt anymore in baseball.
And they still have a ton of power, too. I mean, there's really not a hole in the offense 1 through 9 for Tennessee. Pop up on the infield behind home plate. Davidson calls for it, and the All-American catcher makes the play out number 1.
So far, Emily Williams has really done a good job as far as going out in her approach to these Tennessee hitters. She's looked at the scouting report. She's done what she's been asked to do by the pitching staff, and this is a Mississippi State team that's had some really good success in the circle, but then they've had some outings where they haven't. And the same thing for their lineup, but defensively, they knew they were going to have to pitch it well today and defend it well today to give themselves a chance.
At the dish now is the outfielder who we highlighted in the open, Jason, Kiki Malloy. She has been able to do really a little bit of everything this year for Tennessee.
Athletic family. Her sister played at Washington. Her father, Lawyer Malloy, played college ball at Washington and in the NFL with the New England Patriots.
Hard hit ball, foul though, left side for a strike.
I know that Lawyer has to be very, very proud of his daughters and the things that they've been able to accomplish in softball. And you see a smile there from Kiki. She does it all for this Tennessee team. Certainly is a spark for them. One reason why they're 38-8 on the season, 11-7 in conference play. Dropped the first 2 series of the season, but have been really, really good since.
Up the middle, base hit. Just a really good swing there. Took what State was giving her. Now the ball gets kicked around, and getting to second base safely is Malloy. The Bulldogs just a little bit of a gaffe defensively. And like you said, Jason, earlier on the broadcast, if you give Tennessee, Malloy especially, any kind of a break, she'll lose her speed and will exploit you.
Well, Tennessee's always looking to take the extra step, and that's just a tribute to Kiki. You can see Mississippi State kicking it around, as you said, just can't field it cleanly, and Kiki notices that and is wisely taking second base there on Mississippi State's air, and the Bulldogs just can't throw it down in time because she has such speed. So not only does she have speed, athleticism, but she also is game aware of where she is out on the field, where the ball is out on the field as well. And
it brings up Kaylin Hannon, and she'll hit the first pitch high in the air, not very deep and right, and it's caught by Paige Cook. And Malloy will have to stay put at second base. Huge out for Williams and the Bulldogs.
Well, the difference in softball and baseball, for example, in baseball, you can make a play like that or an error like that, kick it around, maybe kick it in front of you and pick it up for your shortstop, throw it to first in time to get the runner. But in softball, it's only 60 feet versus 90 feet. And so a team like Tennessee, they're going to make you pay if you just cannot field the ball cleanly.
At the dish now is Ivy Davis, the shortstop, right-handed hitter. She chases a rise ball, fouls it off back, and that'll be strike one. Huntington Beach, California. Boy, Ralph and Karen Weekly, the co-head coaches for Tennessee, they have made a career out of going out west and recruiting the West Coast as well as anybody in the country, including teams on the West Coast.
Well, that's where generally everybody says, okay, the best players are. And certainly I understand
historically,
that.
Yeah.
Historically. And Mississippi State's done that. They've gone out and gotten some California, some Oregon and Washington kids. But kudos to Tennessee. Half their rosters from the state of Tennessee. So that means their high school softball program has really grown over the years, and Mississippi's trying to get there as well.
And part of why the softball at the youth level, high school level, travel ball level in Tennessee has gotten better over the past decade is because of the success
absolutely
that Tennessee had in the first decade of the 21st century. Hard hit ball, foul though. That'll be strike two. Count evens up 2-2 on Ivy Davis. She's batting with two gone, but a runner on in scoring position. A very good runner too in Malloy, who will score on any base hit.
Yes. Well, the good news if you're Mississippi State is there's two outs. If there's less than two outs, you're really concerned at this point.
Pop up, fairly deep and left, over, and making the catch on the warning track with 1 foot in foul territory is Jackie McKenna. And once again, Emily Williams gets out of the jam. No runs, one hit. There was one error, one left on. No score yet in Starkville. We go to the bottom of the second. 17th ranked Tennessee locked up in a 0-0 tie right now with Mississippi State. Here we are, last week of the regular season, and here are the SEC softball standings. And to the surprise of, I think, many, it's Arkansas that is in the catbird seat and really is in a great position, Jason, to win their first ever regular season SEC title this year at 19-5 with 3 more games to play.
Well, you have to be ecstatic for the Razorbacks in watching them and their celebration the other day when they tied, or at least could be co-champions.
Yeah.
But that's
a share at least.
A remarkable feat for that Arkansas softball program that just a couple of years ago was bottom of the pack.
A fantastic job there in Fayetteville. You saw Tennessee right there, not far behind in the loss column at least. They've had so many games. I mean, you look at the disparity in games played this year. For example, you got 24 games played by Arkansas as of today in conference play. You have 18 played by Tennessee. You have 18 played by Mississippi State. It's the way that, because of, now obviously Tennessee and State trying to make up 2 games today, but there's so much, there's been, because of the unbalanced schedule, because of COVID issues at times, there's been a disparity between games played, making it a bit of a tricky year this year to determine who really is the best team. For example, Arkansas, they're going to end the year with the best record, with the best winning percentage. Kudos to them.
But they play more games.
You'd be hard-pressed, though, to find somebody in the SEC that actually believes they are the best team, though, in the SEC. Are they good? They're very good.
Yeah, 19-5.
Most everyone will tell you, though, that either Bama or Florida
Correct.
is the best team in the SEC, not Arkansas. And a lot of that has to do with Arkansas having some series against the 3 bottom teams in the SEC, and no one else in the SEC got to play all 3 of those same
Certainly
bottom
understand.
teams this year.
And it's been like that in all sports in the Southeastern Conference, except for football, where everybody played, at least most everybody played the allotted number of games. A leadoff walk for Rogers there, that's certainly something
That's huge. Yeah.
you don't want to do here in this bottom of the order. And look at State bunting.
Bunt, and Tennessee plays it perfectly. Got the force out at second base, and Tennessee's defense, left side of that defense, did a fantastic job. Segern, Davis, and Fox, and they get the force out at second base, and State cannot advance the runner.
Yeah, and I like what Mississippi State is trying to do here because they're trying to manufacture runs at this point. You don't want to have a double play. Obviously, if you swing away or something else happen, like you get a base runner race, just trying to move the runner over, as this bottom of the order has been so productive as of late.
And I tell you what, if Morgan at first base holds on to the ball, she bobbled it. If she holds on to it, that may have been a double play. So instead, it's 1 on and 1 gone for Jackie McKenna, the left fielder. She hits the ball high into the air, not very deep, though, in left. Out on the edge of the grass is the shortstop Davis. She'll grab it for out number 2.
An easy play for Davis. Just kind of backs up a little bit on the grass, has her eye on it, on that little soft fly ball, and lazy fly ball, I guess I should say, and makes the play. And now there's 2 down for Mississippi State with a runner at first base. We were talking about Tennessee just a moment ago and having half of their players being from the Volunteer State. And we talked about how that program, the high school fast pitch program, has gotten so much better in the state. And you mentioned because of the success of Tennessee, and I agree 100%. And you look like the state of Mississippi for years had to go out of state, Mississippi State and Ole Miss and soccer, and recruit because soccer wasn't big in the state. Now it's become big and it's getting better. Same thing with fast pitch softball. There's still some programs that play slow pitch softball, and talking with some former coaches here, with Mississippi State, they hated that.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in having slow pitch softball.
Right.
You got to go to fast pitch. And I know of some programs that just recently did away with fall slow pitch and play just spring fast pitch ball.
That's been a labor of love for a lot of the Division I softball coaches in Mississippi now for a number of years, is helping grow the sports at the youth, travel ball, and high school level in Mississippi to cultivate more of a recruiting base here at home, as opposed to having to always go to the Atlanta area, into Florida, and then out to the West Coast and Texas to get players.
Yeah, and back to the slow pitch. What does that really do to help someone in their fast pitch and getting scholarships, opportunities to play at the next level?
Swing and a miss. Rogers able to get out of the jam, issued a leadoff walk, but then retires the next 3 in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. Our score 0-0. We are heading into the middle innings here of Game 1 of a scheduled day-night doubleheader here in Starkville, as Tennessee takes on Mississippi State. So far, the pitchers have gotten the better of the hitters. No score yet after the first couple of innings. There you see Bulldog starter Emily Williams back in the circle. She has not allowed any runs yet, has not walked anybody either, has given up a couple of singles, 1 strikeout. Tennessee's had a runner on second base in both at-bats so far, but nothing to show for it as Anna Fox leads off the inning, a sophomore from Columbia, Tennessee, and there is one of those Tennessee natives on this Tennessee roster. A slap hitter.
Emily Williams has certainly done what the coaches have asked of her so far. She is pitched with confidence. She's faced 8 batters so far, only given up those 2 singles you mentioned, and she's pitched around some trouble. Both teams have gotten a couple of hits, but just haven't been able to get some runs across. And lets that pitch get away from her there to get behind on the count. We talked about how she has to stay ahead of the count, and just when it looks like she's going to maybe struggle there, she'll come back and get a strikeout or get a much-needed out.
Swing and a miss. Fox followed by the top of the order hitters, Ayala and Segern. Then Morgan, if anyone reaches.
Pitch right across the plate, and Fox just barely missed it as she swung under it. That'll even up the count.
Trying to slap one the opposite way, hits it foul. Count remains 2-2.
We talked about scholarship opportunities, too, for softball, and I think one thing that isn't discussed an awful lot, and I don't really know the reason why, and I know that rosters are a little bit smaller with softball than it is college baseball, but 11.7 scholarships allowed for college baseball, 12 for women's college softball.
Yeah, not
the full scholarships
right.
that you would think. So where is the outcry there? Now, I agree there should be an outcry with 11.7 in baseball. I've been talking about that for years, but nobody really mentions it for softball as well.
That's a good point. It's an issue for this sport across the board, why the other women's sports, most of them at least, are full scholarship sports, and softball in most leagues at most schools is not.
And the popularity is there. I mean, baseball is the second leading revenue provider in the NCAA.
Nice pitch there. Williams strikes out Fox. The 9-hole hitter will head back to the Tennessee dugout. That is the second strikeout today for Edub.
Emily Williams here just attacking the strike zone. And once again, Fox swinging under it, not able to make contact. That's a much-needed strikeout to get an out on the board as we head to the top of the order with bases empty.
Amanda Ayala, who today is 0 for 1, popped out to the shortstop Kennedy. Her first time up to lead off the ball game. 371 hitter, though, on the year with a 438 on-base percentage. She has been a very good leadoff hitter for Tennessee this season. High fly ball, straightaway center field. Mala'ulu calls for it and makes the grab for out number 2.
You know, we had a strikeout just a moment ago, but both teams are swinging the bat well, making contact, and there's defensive plays made out in the field, so it's kind of speeding the game up. Probably shouldn't have said that in the top of the third since we've got a doubleheader today. It's going to slow things down just a bit. But, you know, you look at softball, too, and it's got the highest TV rating when it comes to the Women's College World Series and softball as a whole. So there's two sports that they don't have a full allotment of scholarships, but certainly are very popular.
To your point, the ratings each year on ESPN for the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City are phenomenal. It is amazing how many people are tuning into that event. And one of the reasons why now you see expanded TV coverage of the entire tournament for softball at the regional and super regional levels. 1-1 the count to Chelsea Segern, the third baseman. Struck out her first time up, so 0 for 1 today against Williams.
And this Tennessee team can get things going with 2 outs. They're not the big inning team that Mississippi State can be, but certainly are an efficient team. 1 through 9 in the order. And the way they run the base paths, anything can happen.
Downstairs, counting now 3-1.
We talked about the confidence of this Mississippi State softball team coming in. They've been trying to find their identity this year. And they've had some players that have been out with injuries, so they're finally becoming a more healthy team. So their depth is a little bit better this year.
Foul tip. Full count now on Segern.
Had the best record in softball, tied with UCLA last season when the pandemic hit. And for whatever reason, just hit a struggle spot in SEC play, going, 0 for 13 in their first 13 games. But certainly were competitive in a lot of those. You look at the Florida series, lost 1-0 on Friday night. It was a 1-0 game, top of the 7th on Saturday, before Florida explodes for 9 runs at the top of the 7th. It kind of blew the confidence of the Bulldogs there, and they got swept.
But no question, they are playing their best softball of the year right now at the end of the season, fighting for a spot in regionals in a couple of weeks as Williams issues a walk to Segern. So runner on at first now for Tennessee with 2 outs as Ashley Morgan steps in.
And the Lady Vols are certainly playing well as well.
Ground ball to the right side. Easy play for Cook. 4-3. And Morgan is retired, and so are the Lady Vols. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left on. It remains 0-0 here in Starkville. We go to the bottom of the third here in Starkville. No score yet. Each team has had base runners in all of their at-bats, but the two pitching staffs so far are doing a good job getting out of jams, and we remain scoreless. A couple of Tennessee fans there on your screen who made the trip to Starkville. The Tennessee fan base always travels well in softball.
Yeah, and it looks like they're wanting a little bit more excitement and offense in this game. Not necessarily right now, as Mississippi State's at the plate here in the bottom of the third.
It'll be the top of the Bulldog order. Mala'ulu, Leilua, and Spexar due up. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll see Mia Davidson, if anyone can reach. Mala'ulu came in 0 for 1 and lines one right to Anna Fox. A well-struck ball, but right to the Tennessee second baseman for out number 1.
Now, honestly, Anna Fox kind of made that look easy, but that's not an easy play necessarily to make, because you could easily mistime this. I mean, look at her timer jump just right to grab that one out of the air and save a base hit. The Bulldogs are really needing to get something going with a leadoff hit, and they haven't been able to do that so far.
Leilua trying to check a swing. She could not. And the count's 0-1.
Both pitchers have done a really good job of pitching around trouble. We mentioned that just a moment ago. Emily Williams with a 2-out walk, and then it was a 4-3 putout that got MSU out of the top of the third.
Leilua now in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. Had a single earlier in the ball game, so 1 for 1 today, upping her average on the year to 365.
Same numbers for Rogers as Williams for the most part. Faced 10 batters, given up 2 hits, have scattered some of those hits, 3 strikeouts to her credit. And she, like Williams, has done a good job of pitching out of tough situations.
Up the middle, shortstop grabs, Davis throws. Nice stretch at first by Morgan. 6-3, Leilua is retired for the first time today for out number 2.
Davis had her played right and was able to just go to her left just a bit, because we talked about Leilua being able to go back up the middle. When she has her finesse game going, she can hit it up the middle. And that time she was played right by Davis and was able to make the grab. And a good throw, too. I think infielders are underappreciated in a lot of ways in softball about how difficult it is to make those plays.
That ball gets to you so quickly. Down the line, fair ball. Past the bag at third. Carter Spexar, a 2-out single, and the Dogs not going down quietly here in the home half of the third.
Yeah, we just mentioned that, and that was a tough play to be made by Chelsea Segern. As we check out the replay here, was able to take one inside, pull it to the left, get it just past the outstretched glove of the third baseman Segern. And it rolls down the line, and the right fielder gets it back in.
And it gives the Dogs now a chance to give Mia Davidson a plate appearance. First pitch popped up foul. Left field, no play for Hannon. She ran out of real estate down there. Strike 1.
Do you think she's thinking about it? I mean,
because not only would her next home run break the MSU record, but it also puts her in sole possession of second place in the all-time SEC record book for career home runs.
At what part do you start to press a little bit when you know those kind of, and we've seen, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, softball, whatever it is, a player that there's a milestone they're trying to reach, they talk about the relief of getting it over with.
Pop up on the infield. Who's going to get it? Third baseman comes in, Segern. Foul territory, makes the grab. And that was a fairly easy inning for Rogers. No runs, 1 base hit. The single from Spexar, no errors, 1 left on. Our score, 0-0 after 3.
Midweek softball here in Starkville in the Southeastern Conference. Kind of a throwback to the 2000s when SEC games would be played in the midweek. No score between 17th-ranked Tennessee and Mississippi State as we head to the top half of the 4th inning at News Park. Emily Williams back in the circle for the Bulldogs, has faced 12 batters, given up 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, similar numbers to her counterpart, Ashley Rogers, in the circle for Tennessee.
Fly ball to left and a fairly easy play, routine play there for McKenna, and a quick out for out number 1 in the top of the 4th.
Ball's being put in play, but defensive plays have been made, and generally when these two teams have had runners on base, there's been 2 outs.
And you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, Jason, these two teams offensively, nobody right now taking many pitches. I mean, they are coming up there swinging at first pitch strikes. And again, Riley West comes up on a rise ball, first pitch swinging, and misses to fall behind 0-1. 0 for 1 today is West, but a very good hitter on the year, one of the best for Tennessee with a .400 batting average.
Has to be intimidating, not only for Emily Williams, but anybody facing this Tennessee lineup to see the batting averages 1 through 9. As you see West batting in the middle of the order there with a .400 average.
Yeah, followed by a .360 hitter.
Yeah.
In Malloy. I mean, 8 of the 9 in the lineup today hitting .280 or better for Tennessee.
It's just phenomenal.
The only true hole you have is that 9-hole hitter in Fox, who's hitting below .200. But even she has that slap ability, which makes it a little difficult at times to defend her when the ball is put into play. Swing and a miss. Good job. Change speeds there by Williams.
Beautiful
A
pitch.
strikeout for West, or a strikeout of West. And for Williams, that now gives her 3 strikeouts on the afternoon.
Yeah, to Ty Rogers, her counterpart in the circle. Just a beautiful piece of pitching there and attacking West as she comes with the off-speed pitch there inside. And a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 3, she mentioned, for Emily Williams here in the top of the 4th with 2 down.
Spun that ball really well. And now faces Malloy for the second time. Malloy had a single and advanced on an error, but then was stranded at second base her first time up back in the top of the 2nd.
I love the player Kiki Malloy is. As you look at her numbers there at the bottom of the screen, 1 for 1 today with a single. Was able to advance to second with a heads-up play, heads-up running. As we say, she does every time, so you have to be very conscious of who's running those base paths when you're out there defensively. Just a special player for the Lady Vols.
Yeah, 12 homers on the year, a couple of triples, takes that strike, and the count is now 2-1. 34 runs driven in, which is tied for second on the team behind only Ivy Davis, who has 38 RBIs in 2021. That pitch just missed, and now the count's 3-1.
Kind of reminds you of what they would call a 5-tool player, with all the things that she's able to do for the Tennessee Volunteers. And now it's danger time for Emily Williams with another 2-out walk possible, coming here with a 3-1 pitch.
Line drive, foul. Now the count is full.
Getting aided there by a swing and foul ball from Malloy. Malloy's been on base, as we mentioned. And that single, was able to advance to second on the throwing error, but there were 2 outs. Mississippi State limited the damage by Tennessee to really no damage as far as the scoreboard is concerned.
Another ball that was in on the hands of Malloy. She fights it off to stay alive. Count remains 3-2.
Yeah, Williams challenged her inside there, and just a moment ago she came inside on a pitch that was called just off the plate. Malloy didn't even move.
Team leading 47 hits on the year for the sophomore Malloy. Swing and a miss. What a huge strikeout. Wow. For Emily Williams. 1, 2, 3, down go the Lady Vols in the top of the 4th. We're halfway home in game 1. No score yet between Tennessee and Mississippi State.
Watch me do what I do. I'm in charge. I make rules. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to prove. Yeah, I'm in charge. I run the school.
It's going to be a great week of softball. May 11th to 15th, coming up very soon over in Tuscaloosa. 13-team single elimination format with seeding based on conference winning percentage. All 12 games will air on either ESPN2 or on the SEC network. Should be a fantastic 5 days of softball over at Rhodes Stadium.
Just 82 miles to the east of us here in Starkville. I say we go over and check out some SEC softball tournament action.
It's the easiest road trip in the SEC.
No doubt. You got Oxford about 91 miles away, so
it's much
maybe
harder.
92.
It's much harder to get to Oxford. You got to make turns to get there. Here to T-Town, no turns.
That is true. That is true. There's no straight shot there.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Addison Purvis, the 5-hole hitter in the order today for Mississippi State. 5 through 7 due up in the 4th to face Allison Rogers, who has so far held State scoreless on 3 base hits, has walked 1, struck out 3.
Can't say enough about these two pitchers for Tennessee and Mississippi State and how they've been able to pitch. Obviously, Rogers is the ace for Tennessee. Emily Williams not considered the front runner for Mississippi State when it comes to in the circle, but has certainly pitched like it in this contest so far. And by the way, we're looking at literally the road that leads to Tuscaloosa to the SEC softball tournament.
The literal road.
The literal
yes.
road. Highway 82.
Some might, look at the standings and say the road to Tuscaloosa
Goes through Starkville.
You and I are literally through Starkville. Swing and a miss. Rogers picks up strikeout number 4 in the game as she strikes out Purvis for the second time.
How many?
1 gone.
Sorry, Anthony. How many full count strikeouts have we seen from Williams and Rogers? They both just come in and aggressively attack the plate. Obviously, you don't want to pitch it off the plate because it would be a called ball and you would walk them. But sometimes you're thinking, okay, maybe I'm going to get them swinging here. Because a lot of times a hitter on a 3-2 pitch is obviously more aggressive than 3-1. But they've just come right at them and gotten swings and misses.
Yeah, in that case, Rogers just challenged Purvis, and Purvis could not get the bat around fast enough. Paige Cook up there now for State. Cook hits one the other way foul for a strike, and quickly in the hole, 0-2.
This middle to the bottom of the order was so special in Columbia, as we mentioned earlier. It helped Mississippi State win a series, their first SEC series of the season. And it wasn't just that middle to the bottom of the order, it was flipping the lineup. And that's something you hear the coaches at State talk an awful lot about this team this year, is being able to flip the lineup in key situations in games.
Well, that is definitely the key to success for State, because the top 5 in the order, as good as any top 5 in any lineup anywhere in the SEC, but the bottom 4 producing has been an issue in conference play. It's one of, or maybe the main reason why you see that record for State in the SEC this year at 3-15, because the productivity of the 6 through 9 hitters just has not been there on a consistent basis for State against conference pitching. Cook did not go around, so the count is 2-2 on State's second baseman, who drew a walk her first time up against Rogers back in the 2nd inning.
It's been a cloudy day, but it's turned out to be a beautiful day compared to yesterday.
No question. That was...
Certainly glad all that stuff didn't come through yesterday. There would be no ball played.
That was
postponed for a second straight time.
That was a toe strangler yesterday.
I've never heard that. Toe strangler.
Yeah.
Explain.
Toad.
Oh,
Strangler.
toad.
Yeah,
I thought
toad.
you said toe strangler. Oh, I need to check my hearing.
High fly ball, foul territory, near first base. Morgan comes over and makes the grab in front of her own dugout for out number 2.
We've seen some strikeouts. I think, off the top of my head here, without looking at the stats, I think 6, maybe 7 strikeouts.
Well, 4 for Rogers and 3 for
so
Williams.
7.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this is, when we say it's been a pitcher's duel, it has, but not necessarily in the way you're thinking. I mean, both teams are kind of putting the ball in play, but leaving it up to their defense.
First pitch swinging for Madison Kennedy, and she fouls that one back left side for strike 1.
A lot of times when you think pitcher's duel, you're thinking strikeout left, right, here and there. And but it's been the effectiveness of their pitching, too, that has allowed the defense to make plays.
Tennessee, 2 base hits. State, just 3 base hits. So, yeah, the two teams defensively getting it done so far today. 1-1 the count on Kennedy, who reached on a fielder's choice. She was trying to put down a sac bunt her last time up and failed to do so. Well, put the bunt down, but bunted it hard. So a force out was made at second base on the play. That's been the day so far today for Kennedy.
Some fan about got taken out. Row 5. Ducked. Wasn't paying attention and hit the row right behind her. And I saw her tell another fan, that close.
Got to keep your head on a swivel. I mean, there's nowhere to hide today. I mean, 1 o'clock Wednesday first pitch, so it's a sparse crowd as you would expect. There's no one's going to come to your rescue and snag a fly ball if you're not paying attention. Pop up straight back and over our heads for a strike.
And we have to pay attention, too, because if it's hit just right over that netting, it can come straight into the TV booth. I've been hit by a softball and baseball before, and it's not fun.
In the booth?
No.
Okay.
No, so relax. No.
Okay.
No.
1-2 the count to Cook. She fights it off again. So Cook doing a good job.
Battling.
I'm sorry, Kennedy doing a good job staying alive.
Yeah, Madison Kennedy, who started the season on the injured reserve list and was able to come back after the first, week or two of the season. Was a freshman a season ago before the pandemic. Starting to settle in at short and has done so this year. Is going to be a special player for Coach Ricketts and the staff.
Yeah, not many true freshmen are given the opportunity to be a starter on the infield from day one, but she was last season.
And if you're Rogers, what pitch do you throw her now she hasn't seen already?
Yeah, she is running out of arrows here, is Rogers.
Well, you love to see a player battle at the plate. Sometimes they know that they're not going to be able to put it in play, but they can just foul it off. Stay alive.
And again, just got a piece of that one.
Barely.
Rogers came low and away and might have also changed speeds a bit. So the count remains 2-2 on Kennedy, a .210 hitter on the year, a .208 hitter now after going 0 for 1 so far today. Swing and a miss. Boy, Rogers had to fight for that one, but did get the strikeout eventually. 5 Ks now for Rogers in the inning for State. 3 up and 3 down. And we go to the 5th inning. No score here in Starkville. Top of the 5th here in Starkville. No score between Tennessee and Mississippi State. 5 hits combined. Emily Williams back in the circle for the Bulldogs. When you and I saw her as the starter here for game 1, we were a little surprised because Annie Willis has been the normal game 1 starter for most weekends in the SEC, although today not a traditional SEC weekend series. It's a midweek doubleheader, but still, game 1 has usually gone to Willis, but Williams going today in the circle, and she has been very, very good for the Bulldogs as she gets Hannon on the very first pitch to pop out to Kennedy for out number 1.
That's a great play by Kennedy there, too, because you're going backwards, then you're going sideways, you're trying to catch the ball, and this sky is not that easy right now because you have patches of blue and patches of clouds and the sun's kind of peeking through, and then you're trying to call everybody off, and you don't know who you're going to run into. So great play there by Madison Kennedy in shallow center.
Ivy Davis now due up for Tennessee. Ball 1.
Yeah, Williams certainly has taken on the challenge, and she has not shied away from it. Obviously, the number 2 pitcher, so in the starting rotation, it's not like they went down in the depth chart and said, hey, you know what, we're going to put you in the circle. Go out there and we wish you the best of luck. But she certainly, opposite Rogers, has held her own.
The Bulldogs have a new right fielder in the ball game here for the top of the 5th, as Christian Quinn is now in right field. So that means Carter Spexarth, more than likely, is now going to be your DP for State, and Purvis will be out of the lineup for the time being.
Not unusual, too, for State to make some of these changes middle of the game. They've done that a lot this season, and they've had several different lineups, too, not only 1 through 9, but they've also changed some position players out in the field for certain series as well.
So the veteran from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, now playing in right field, which means your Bulldog outfield from left to right is now McKenna, Mala'ulu, and Quinn. The infield from right to left is Leilua, Cook, Kennedy, and Montana Davidson. With Mia Davidson behind the plate, Ivy Davis with a 2-2 count.
You know, Williams and Rogers kind of have mirrored each other in their approach at the plate, and also they haven't gotten behind on the count much. Where they could really let it get out of control, they haven't. They've pitched around when they have been behind.
Slow roller, fielded not cleanly though by Montana Davidson, and there is no throw to first base. Montana Davidson intercepted that one from Kennedy, got in front of her, and never got it cleanly in the glove.
Well, it's going to be like Groundhog Day when I mention this again, because this will be the 3rd time we've talked about it, but you can't kick the ball around. You've got to be able to get a firm grip, get it out of the glove quickly, and shoot it across, because Tennessee can get down the line so quickly. And it's not just against Tennessee, that's softball in general. Those kind of plays, you don't field it cleanly yet. Didn't get past her, but she didn't field it cleanly and couldn't throw out the runner.
So error charge to Montana Davidson. 2nd error today. Charge to Mississippi State. And now Tennessee trying to put a bunt down with the number 9 hitter Fox.
That's a perfect situation for them to do so. You got your 9-hole hitter up there, 1 out. You got a runner at first base, and trying to manufacture a run here, because the way these two pitchers have pitched, 1 run might be enough.
Davis running at first base. Davis, a good runner, not a great runner though. Fox bunt is foul. So Fox unable to get the bunt down on either attempt, and now she's in the hole, 0-2.
Notice, too, with Tennessee is they have some height on their team as well, and can give them some long strides and getting down the base paths and getting to first, second, third, or home.
The Bulldog defense comes in against Fox as Williams will waste an 0-2 pitch, low and outside. 1-2 goes the count.
Well, good pitch there. 0-2. Want to try to get her swinging. She didn't chase, so now you're still ahead of the count at 1-2.
Fox swings and misses. Snap throw to first, and Davis will dive back to the bag safely. 2 gone as Fox strikes out for the 2nd time today.
Well, it's a dangerous throw down to first base by Davidson. That ball, if it gets away from Falelua and goes down the line, you got a runner that could go from first to third in a hurry. But a great job of getting the strikeout, trying to slap it there and get a head start down to first base. Just missed it. That's another strikeout for Emily Williams.
Top of the order now, due up for Tennessee. Amanda Ayala, who is 0 for 2 today. Pumped out in the first, flew out in the 3rd. Up for the 3rd time today to face Williams. So Williams now about to go through the Tennessee order for the 3rd time. We'll see if there's been any adjustments made by the Lady Vol hitters as the count moves to a ball and a strike on Ayala.
A couple of good things here for both teams. Obviously, you have some pitching depth. Both starters still out there here in the 5th inning, and on a day where you play a doubleheader, you kind of have to protect your arms just a bit. I know softball is not like baseball. I understand that, but at the same time, you can get a quality start from your starter on a doubleheader day. That's saying a lot.
Yeah. We'll go
and State's going to pitch it by committee at some point. I mean, that's what I was told. They're going to throw a lot of arms out there today, but so far Williams has held her own, so you're going to have a long leash on her.
Tennessee sent the runner, and Ayala fouled it off left side, so the count 2-2. On the Tennessee left-handed hitting right fielder Amanda Ayala. who has 43 hits on the year, 8 home runs, 9 doubles, and 2 triples. An extra base hit right here might score the run from first base, although Davis is not what anyone would call a plus runner. She certainly is getting a big jump at first base there. And of course, the 2 gone will run on contact.
Absolutely, and
foul tip. She was fooled on the pitch, was Ayala, and just got a piece of it and fouled it off of the catcher, Mia Davidson.
yeah, so far Emily Williams has been able to pitch out of trouble with 2 outs with the runner on base, and we'll see if Mississippi State can do it here in the top of the 5th inning. But Tennessee's, both teams have to wonder how many chances you're going to have before the end of this game. Like I said, 1 run may do it the way these 2 pitchers have pitched.
This is starting to feel very much like a 1-0, 2-1 final score. 3-2. That'll be a base hit. Stopping at second is Davis. Mala'ulu was playing shallow in center, got to it in a hurry, limiting Ayala to a single. First hit today for Amanda Ayala, and now that error charged to Montana Davidson looms large because Tennessee has 2 on base now, and the inning continues for Segern.
2 out walks, errors, all those things are certainly frustrating for coaches, but Mala'ulu played it well, was playing shallow. She's back, a couple of steps more. And maybe Davis takes off for third base, but
and now time called. I think Tennessee is going to use a pinch hitter. A pinch runner. There you see Karen Weekly, co-head coach, along with her husband Ralph. Long time there in Knoxville. Boy, they have built a winner and have kept it going there for a long time. And it will be a pinch runner for Tennessee. Number 33, Treasury Poindexter. She'll make my all-name team this year in the SEC. Treasury Poindexter running at first base. So now Tennessee runners on at first and second for Chelsea Segern, who takes strike 1.
I love the name. I have a niece that her first name is Treasure. She goes by Jordan, but first name's Treasure. Her maiden name, I kid you not, Box.
I knew it.
That's why she goes by her middle name.
A little outside there. Count evens up at a ball on a strike. Segern today has been on base once, drew a walk her last time up. Struck out, though, in the first inning. So the Texas native, her 3rd time at the plate to face Williams. And now she gets ahead of Williams, 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, this is where Williams has to be careful. Obviously, there's pressure on. You got 2 outs, and now it's going to be a conversation in the circle here, but you got to be careful how you pitch this one for certain, as you don't want to give up a run here. You would think, too, okay, well, you give up the run, and it could have been prevented because that could have been an easy play made by Davidson at third in a way. If you field it cleanly, she gets the throw across, but she bobbled it a bit, and you could tell she was frustrated, too, kind of pumped like she was going to throw it, and then sometimes those could get in your head. And the more you get by sometimes with an error, maybe a 2-out walk or a 2-out hit with runners, in scoring position or on base, at some point mentally it catches up with you. If you've kind of been fortunate, it's kind of like cats with 9 lives. State's spent a couple of lives so far, and then and now Tennessee can come back and make them pay here in the 5th inning when innings are premium right now because we're in the latter half of this game.
Segern, really good numbers on the year, so a dangerous hitter right now at the plate for Tennessee, trying to drive in the first run of the game. Foul tip, good pitch by Williams. The count evens up 2-2.
Yeah, and that'll even up the count because, that could have been just off the plate. It could have been a ball, 3-1, and that would be really dangerous at this point. So Emily Williams, once again, when she gets behind on the count, finds a way to even it up. She's been special on 2-2 and 3-2.
Pop up. Foul territory, no play made though. That ball will go into the stand, so we'll do it again as Segern will stay alive. And you wonder what the talk was between Williams and Bulldog pitching coach Josh Johnson. Whatever it was, it worked. Swing and a miss, and Segern goes down on strikes.
It was settle down, do what you've been doing. That's how the conversation went.
Tennessee leaves 2 on the bases, including 1 in scoring position. No score at the 5th inning stretch. Ashley Rogers, as expected, has been very good for Tennessee so far today through the first 4 innings of play.
Well, you saw her do well with the low rise. Also, she works it really well top of the zone, but she's been able to kind of mix the pitches around the plate and getting hitters off balance and swinging and missing. And Rogers certainly has lived up to form. We knew we were going to see this out of her. 4 innings pitch, only giving up 3 hits, a walk, and those 5 Ks. 72 pitches thrown so far.
The Dogs only 3 of 15 offensively today against Rogers. And she'll face the bottom 2 in the order, the 8 and 9 hitters, McKenna and Montana Davidson, before facing the top of the order in Mala'ulu. And then we'll see Leilua if anyone can reach. McKenna today 0 for 1. Popped out in the 2nd inning. Fouls back that pitch. And the count's even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Tennessee is keeping Poindexter in the ball game. She is now playing in right field for the Lady Vols. So Poindexter in right field. So your Tennessee outfield from left to right is now Hannon, Malloy, and Poindexter. There you see Treasury out there, swing and a miss. McKenna fooled on that ball, and she goes down swinging for the first time today. Strikeout number 6 today for Rogers.
You know, Rogers certainly that time was able to work the outer half of the plate as she was able to get her going down swinging. Davidson, or beg your pardon, McKenna, chased one outside, wasn't able to make contact. She spun her body around and knew it. You could see her face, too. It's like, Rogers has just been special. 6 strikeouts in the circle. One of her victims at the plate now, Montana Davidson.
What a weekend Montana Davidson had against the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Friday through Sunday had a really good weekend for State, helping propel State to that series victory over the Gamecocks on the road. Swing and a miss out in front of that one, and now the count is 1-2.
That rise ball just works so well at the top of the zone for Rogers. She's one of the best in the business at being able to locate that pitch and confuse hitters.
Wasted that 2-strike pitch, high and outside. Count evens up at 2-2.
Good waste pitch, because she's had a lot of batters throughout the SEC lineups swing at that pitch. It's kind of like, you don't swing, I'm still ahead of the count. You swing, I strike you out. And Tennessee has more speed now, too, in the outfield by keeping Poindexter out there.
Swing and a miss. Ball, though, gets away from the catcher, and Montana Davidson will reach base safely. So the Bulldogs catch a break. It was a strikeout, and will go down in the book as a strikeout. But that ball got away from Shipman, and by the time she got to it, Montana Davidson was already 2/3 of the way up the line towards first base.
You know, as Rogers got rid of that one just a little bit low, and I don't know if the swing just kind of confused the catcher there for Tennessee. The ball was able to get away, and that's got to probably be the most frustrating rule for a pitcher.
Mala'ulu hits one fairly deep. Should be caught, though, and will be right in front of the warning track in right center field by Malloy. So Mala'ulu quickly is retired. 1 pitch. She flies out. She is now 0 for 3 today. So 1 on and 2 gone for Fa'alelua.
You know, Shipman has to be frustrated. She let that ball get past her. Like I said, I think a little maybe distracted by the swing there, because that ball dropped pretty quickly once it got to the plate.
Hit the dirt in a hurry. First pitch swinging, Leilua fouls one back. That was a rise ball that she just got up underneath, and that'll be strike 1.
And that flipped the lineup. And even though there was out number 2 from your top of the order, you get Fale Lua, who's your best hitter and best home run swinger at the plate now with 2 down and a runner at first.
Outside, count evens up at a ball and a strike.
You'll see probably a little cat and mouse game here between Rogers and Fale Lua. It's kind of like, I'll give you a pitch that maybe you can hit. Hopefully it's going to be a strike. And the next one, I'll dare you.
Swinging another foul ball. So a couple of balls that have been up and in, and Leilua has fouled them off. So she's now behind in the count 1-2.
Obviously, she's not going to leave anything on the outer part of the plate for Fale Lua to barrel up and send over that outfield wall. She's going to pitch it really smart here.
Foul ball again and out of play again. So 3 foul balls now. The count remains 1-2 on Leilua, who is herself 1 for 2 at the plate today against Rogers. Base hit back in the first and a ground out in the third.
And being aggressive. I like it. Not taking pitches, because some of those pitches could be on that inner half of the corner. Took one because it was low there.
Yeah, and a good take.
Yeah.
Evens the count at 2-2. Montana Davidson running at first base. No score yet, as we are in the later innings here in Starkville. Good take again. Nice high velocity drop ball from Rogers. Now the count's full.
Yeah, you mentioned it, high velocity drop ball. And that was a beautiful pitch by Rogers, but it was taken by Leilua. It's aggressive, but not too aggressive.
High fly ball. Might be a play. Nope, running out of room there is the third baseman, Segern, on a ball that was right by the Bulldog dugout, third base side. We'll do it again. Count remains full.
And how about the third base cameraman for the SEC Network? Didn't even move.
Pro.
I tell you what, he's seen a lot of those pop-ups. He's going to do his job no matter what.
It's a hot shot right towards the Bulldog dugout. That'll send a couple of Leilua's teammates heading for cover.
I think it got right there in that gap between the fences, because it's kind of high on the dugout there as you see that netting, but I don't know if it went between where there's steps or if it just hit that net and kind of spooked some of the players.
The pitch is high. The walk is earned by Leilua. She's on base for the second time today. That'll move Montana Davidson over into scoring position. 2 on now, 2 gone for Carter Spexarth.
Well, Rogers played with her and lost. And she lost Fale Lua to first, but that's still not a loss for Tennessee in a lot of ways. I know Spexarth has been pretty good for Mississippi State as of late, but you want to pitch carefully around Fale Lua in the situation with 2 down because of her power, and she's been the best hitter for Mississippi State. So that walk doesn't necessarily kill you unless at this point you give up a base hit or an error or something that leads to a Mississippi State score.
Timeout called by Tennessee as Karen Weekly will head to the circle. The entire Tennessee infield will come in to have a meeting with the co-head coach.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's what Coach Weekly wanted her pitcher to do at this point, is to go ahead and walk Fale Lua. No, but it's not the end of the world for Tennessee walking Fale Lua. And unless Spexarth, the pressure on her is not too great, and she's able to come through. But
I'm not sure Leilua saw a strike that entire at-bat.
She did not.
They were not going to give her anything that she could drive into the gap.
Correct. And there were a couple of close pitches that she fouled off that were inside that might get the inner half of the plate. But no, you're exactly right. Nothing she could drive.
So now Tennessee will pitch to Carter Spexarth, and Rogers will challenge her on the first pitch.
Yeah.
With a strike. Spexarth today is 1 for 2. Struck out in the first, had a single down the line and left her last time up in the third. And now the count's even at 1-1.
She's not going to get the cat and mouse game that Leilua got. So.
No. And Rogers working quickly here, too.
But I think Spexarth also was able to come on around and score.
Leilua may have scored anyway, but I'm shocked that Tennessee did not go home. And based on the reaction of Karen Weekly, going home is what they were supposed to have done.
And Poindexter, not normally out there in these situations, has played, obviously, but...
Well, I think Poindexter did the right thing. and threw the ball to Fox.
Oh, I got you. Fox, okay.
And then I think Fox,
Well, because there was no way Poindexter was going to be able to get it all the way
Right.
home. You're correct, yes.
either way,
I think
huge,
she still scores in that situation because of
huge
where the
hit.
ball was placed.
Yeah, huge base hit. A double for Spexarth. And they will give her credit for a double that drives in a pair of runs. Both Montana Davidson and Leilua score. The first RBI today for either team. Dogs on top, home half of the fifth, 2-0. And Bradley St. Clair will now run at second base for Spexarth. And it's Mia Davidson at the plate. And now we have time called as Rogers asked for the trainer. And she's going to get some of her fingers taped up, it would appear, on the pitching hand.
Clutch 2-out hit by Spexarth and placed it right. You know, in Poindexter, all she could do, in her defense, she had to play it off the wall, and it was a low bounce off the wall. So it's not like she did everything, wrong in that situation because it was a really good piece of hitting and placement of the ball there in right center field in the gap. And, Mississippi State isn't known for their speed around the base paths, but they really made it look easy there. And now they've got speed with Riley St. Clair at second. Rogers has scattered some hits, but that was a big one for Mississippi State there, or here rather, in the bottom of the fifth inning.
Belt high with a fastball, and that'll be a strike, and 1-1 goes the count to Mia Davidson. 1 for 2 today, a double. Her first time up in the first. Hits this one down the line and left, coming over and running out of room, but a good sliding attempt is Hannon. Strike 2 on Mia Davidson.
These right-handed hitters have been pitched well by Rogers because all they can really do is pull it. They haven't been able to go the other way. And we've seen them go foul, too, because of the spin on the ball and where the ball is placed. And Mississippi State's get a little bit too far behind on some of those pitches as well. That one wasted outside.
Good block by Shipman to keep it in front of her.
Yeah, Shipman does a great job at catcher, and she let one get past her. It was that low drop. It dropped very quickly, and the batter stepped in front of her swinging.
Davidson again lines one foul left side. That double by Spexarth earlier in the inning. Her 8th double of the year, drives in her 37th and 38th runs of the season. Swing and a miss. Rogers gets the strikeout of Davidson. But Carter Spexarth, the big 2 RBI, 2-out double to break up what was a scoreless tie. A gapper the opposite way. A couple of runs score, and the Dogs are on top 2-0 as we go to the top of the 6th. Thanks to a Carter Spexarth 2 RBI double, the Bulldogs are on top 2-0. Our first runs of the game, and they came in the bottom of the 5th. So now the question is, how will Tennessee respond? Down by a couple of runs and now down to their final 6 outs.
Well, both teams have kind of flirted around offensively with some base runners, but Tennessee and Mississippi State both defensively and in the circle been able to get out of it.
Ashley Morgan hits the first pitch to right center field, and the Bulldog center fielder Bradley St. Clair, who was just inserted last half inning as a pinch runner, will now stay in the ball game as a defensive replacement, and she calls off Christian Quinn and makes the play for out number 1.
Interesting, too, because I had talked about Mississippi State had to play so cleanly because Tennessee can beat you off your mistakes, and it was Tennessee mistakes that essentially allowed Mississippi State 2 runs because you had the strikeout swinging, of course, on the pass ball, was able to get to first base, and then there was a fly out, and then all of a sudden you walk Leilua. Leilua, and then all of a sudden Spexarth comes up with a big gapper with a huge hit. And that's the difference in winning and losing sometimes, taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes, and Mississippi State was able to do that.
Shipman hits one towards the gap. That'll drop in and go to the wall. Should be a double and will be a double. Standing up for Allie Shipman, her first big hit of the ball game. And Lady Vols in business. Runner on his second, less than 2 outs.
First double of the game for Tennessee. So, yeah, obviously coming back and responding here in the top of the 6th inning with a 1-out double. Was able to take one kind of high and outside. Was able to slap it into left center field. Mississippi State the inning before. Right center field was able to score 2 runs. Now Tennessee has a runner at second base with 1 down. And that is really, really huge for the Lady Vols.
Tennessee will use a pinch runner. They will bring on number 3, Caitlin Parsons. Parsons will now run at second base in place of the catcher Shipman. That'll give Shipman a chance to rest her legs because she'll be expected to catch all 14 innings today for Tennessee. So runner on in scoring position and a really good hitter in West at the plate. First pitch swinging, and she fouls it straight back and off the roof of the press box for strike 1.
Yeah, that fell off the roof right in front of us.
Yeah, you got to be careful here at News Park. Those balls will ricochet off the press box and right back into the stands. At the knees for a strike, 0-2 the count on Riley West, who today is 0 for 2. The freshman, though, on the year has been, for average, really Tennessee's best hitter, or one of the best hitters, .394, her average on the season.
Emily Williams hasn't outpitched Rogers, but certainly has done what she has been asked to do and has been very effective for her team. She's pitched it really, really well.
Has held Tennessee to only 4 hits in 5 1/3 innings. Has held Tennessee to only a 190 batting average so far today. Pop up, no play though. That ball gets into the stands. So we'll do it again. West will stay alive.
A lot of pop-ups today. A lot of pop-ups that have come our way. Wind starting to blow just a little bit.
Yeah, blowing
inside the press box.
Slightly in, I think, from left. Ball comes in and misses, a little high and inside. The count is now even at 2-2.
I mean, Tennessee batters, they stand in. They don't react much to a ball that comes close inside, do they?
With St. Clair now in center field, that means Mala'ulu's over in left field for State. As that ball misses, now the count's full. Yeah, the hitters for Tennessee, they do not move. They're going to stay in there.
Which is good.
They're going to stay in there, and they will get on base any way they can, especially in the later innings.
It's that small ball effect mentality.
That'll be a ball that should drop in for a base hit. No! Bradley St. Clair diving grab to rob what could have been an extra base hit from Riley West.
2 big catches made here in the top of the 6th inning, and of course she's all smiles there. That's a SportsCenter top 10 nominee right there. So we'll see the replay here momentarily. I'm with you, Anthony. I thought that ball was about to drop, kind of curved in just a little bit, hung up. And then what a diving stop. My goodness gracious.
And that sent Parsons diving back to the bag at second. What a great job by St. Clair. I thought off the bat she had no chance of catching up to that one. That ball was dying quickly.
Yeah, it was. And it kind of died right into her glove, though. It was curving down towards her, but she had to make the dive and to make the catch. Got a good jump on it, too. So kudos to Riley St. Clair. Great defensive play in center.
Inserted into the ball game as a defensive replacement, and she shows why she was able to make that play at the wall. Chloe Mala'ulu, the wind held it up just long enough. Malloy threatened to tie the game with one swing, and it's at the wall, and it dies, and Mala'ulu makes the grab. A couple of fantastic catches by State's left fielder and center fielder. And the Dogs' defense maintains their 2-run lead after 5 innings. We've seen a good one so far in Starkville today, game 1 of a scheduled SEC midweek doubleheader. as Mississippi State leads number 17 Tennessee in the bottom of the 6th by a score of 2-0. Christian Quinn will lead off the inning for the Dogs. Quinn, a defensive replacement earlier in the ball game, getting her first plate appearance. The senior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, will bat in the number 5 spot in the order.
It's kind of been up and down the lineup this season. She was batting 9th to start the year and did a really, really good job, 8th, 9th actually, and was pretty good and effective there at the bottom of the order. Definitely
shows slap and takes it for strike 3. What a good job by Rogers. That fooled Quinn, and she strikes out quickly.
Took off without swinging. Rogers working that outer half part of the plate. Quinn just kind of like, It's kind of one of those where you mumble good job to the pitcher as you walk away from the plate.
Yeah, wasn't a whole lot Quinn could do about that.
If you're just joining us and you say, okay, it's 2-0, and what has Rogers done wrong? Well, really nothing.
No, I mean, she's held the state offense fairly in check, but one big hit from State, from Carter Specksarth last inning, is the difference. A 2 RBI opposite field double from Specksarth, and the Dogs on top by a couple of runs. Cook hits one, not very deep, shallow on the edge of the grass, right field, and that'll be a play made by Anna Fox for out number 2.
So she gave up the hit, but she gave up the walk before. And I would say, you know, hits are going to come from time to time. I think the mistake was the walk. And at the time, Anthony, I said, you know, it's probably not that big of a deal if you're Tennessee, because you walk Fale Lewis, who's the leading hitter, obviously has the big bat and can stick it over the wall, and you didn't want to give up a 2-run shot there where you walk her. And then Specksarth, who has been clutch as of late, did a really good job of hitting one at the gap and scoring 2 runs. But other than that, she's been fantastic and having to have some aid again from the trainer.
Yeah, Rogers dealing, I think, with a blister.
Yeah.
On one of her fingers, maybe the index finger on the right hand. Took the mask off, called time. So we have timeout called. Initially, time was called because State is getting ready to use a pinch hitter. It'll be the sophomore Kiki Edwards who will grab a bat for Samantha Ricketts. And so while we had that stoppage, Tennessee called timeout themselves, and it was Rogers who asked to see the trainer to get some work done there on that index finger on the right hand. She's smiling, so it can't be that painful, but she clearly is having some issues with that right hand index finger.
And that's her pitching hand, and she may just be tough, smiling through it, but looked like there was some redness there, some blood possibly. Obviously, you know, they'd have to take care of that if there's blood, and they did because we're back to action now, but that could certainly affect. Yeah, and you can see how she's taking her hand and rubbing it in the dirt just a little bit, and there's obviously some pain there, and it can affect the spin and your location of the ball too. If you've got where that ball is rubbing off that sore as you're pitching it to the plate.
Sophomore from Virginia, Kiki Edwards pops it up left side, grabbed on the infield by Segern, and Rogers fights through some pain and retires the Bulldogs side in order in the 6th. Some drama here in Starkville, top of the 7th inning here in Stark Vegas. The Bulldogs on top of the 17th ranked Lady Volunteers by a score of 2-0, a rare SEC midweek doubleheader. This is game 1 of 2. And there you see Emily Williams back in the circle, trying to close things out, Jason, trying to pitch a complete game in what has been one of, if not her best performance so far of the season.
Yeah, agreed. And if you're Tennessee right here, you have to get a base runner here. I mean, you can ill afford to not get your leadoff man on, and you certainly can't go 2 up, 2 down. Give yourself the best chance to come back and either tie or take the lead in this game. Emily Williams certainly has pitched with confidence in this one.
She'll face the bottom three in Tennessee's order. Tennessee down to their last 3 outs. Got to get a couple of runners on base. Fly ball to center field. 1 gone as Hannon flies out to St. Clair.
I won't say that Emily Williams has commanded the strike zone, but she has commanded in times when she's needed to. If that makes sense. Like, she's made some key pitches at the right time where she owned the strike zone. But it hasn't been like Rogers' day, where Rogers, for the most part, has won that strike zone. And by the way, when you said drama a while ago, I thought you were going to talk about the youngsters kind of pushing and shoving each other as we were watching them during the break walk up to the ballpark.
Yeah, school must have gotten out across the way at the middle school.
Yeah.
Ivy Davis at the plate now for Tennessee. 0 for 2 today, but a fairly consistent hitter, a .278 hitter on the year. Rise ball taken for a ball, and the count evens up 1-1.
And here's the thing, you're at the bottom of the order. Now, granted, Tennessee, decent at the bottom of the order, but you got .278 right now and then 164. So this is a key out for Emily Williams and this Mississippi State team.
Hard hit ball, left side foul for a strike. 1-2 the count.
Straighten that one up, and that might be off the scoreboard.
So the key for Tennessee right here is either Davis or Fox just got to get on base.
Got to get on base.
Got to get on base and then let the top of the order do some damage.
That is correct. They've got to find a way to get on base here. 1 down.
High fly ball. Could be a play. Foul territory, but running out of room over there is Montana Davidson and Madison Kennedy and Chloe Malulu. All 3 gave chase and simply ran out of real estate. So the count remains 1-2 to Davis, who is looking for her first hit of the ball game.
And the count obviously on the side with Emily Williams here. 1 out in the top of the 7th. Don't want to make a mistake pitch here.
Fouls one straight back. Good pitch and a good fight-off swing. So the at-bat continues.
Yeah, because a devastating thing you could do here as a pitcher is walk someone or hit someone. Up 2 runs with 2 outs to go, and you're at the bottom of the order. You just can't make mistakes in the circle. And I say mistake pitches, you don't want to do that to the top of the order, but a mistake pitch here would be one that's going to hit someone or go out of the zone like that, and you get behind on the count, and all of a sudden you walk somebody.
And Williams, only 1 walk issued today. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. She has been incredibly effective. Ground ball left side, picked up by Davidson. Throw to first is there in time. Montana Davidson on a ball very similar to that. The last time we saw Davis hitting, committed an error. That time she fielded it well.
Yeah, and about pumped it too many times. About didn't get rid of it in time as Tennessee shows some speed getting down the base paths. Now the Bulldogs are 1 out away from taking game 1 against Tennessee.
And I would imagine Tennessee will use a pinch hitter in this situation, and they will. Looks like number 58 in orange, Madison Weber, will hit in place of the slap-hitting Fox. And that's exactly what the Weeklies decide to do. They will let Madison Weber pick up a bat. Looking at the numbers on the year for Weber, a .297 hitter, has driven in 16 runs, has 91 at-bats on the year, so she's been a regularly used player for Tennessee throughout the season. 27 hits total, has drawn 15 walks, has struck out just 7 times. Hits the very first pitch high in the air, foul territory, right field, and that lands in a Tennessee bullpen for strike 1.
Yeah, Quinn knew she wasn't catching up with that one, but yet she sprinted her heart out anyway, trying to make that play. That's how desperate this team is to try to start making that comeback and get some of these confidence wins. And a win over Tennessee would be huge for this program and really going into postseason and then for next season as well.
Yeah, speaking about this postseason, Mississippi State, they are trying to build up the RPI.
Yeah.
They have put themselves in a position to have a really good end of the season push into the postseason. They are 5 games over 500 right now. If they can get at least one victory over Tennessee, they got to feel really good about their chances.
Having the 13th toughest schedule in the country, so you're top 15 there.
Line drive for a base hit. Weber, a pinch hit double, gives Tennessee some life in the 7th. The tying run will now come to the plate, as I believe Tennessee will reinsert Ayala into the lineup now. Poindexter came in for her last inning, and there you see the base hit. It's a pinch hit double, and Weber has given the Vols a chance.
Yeah, good piece of hitting there by the pitch hitter Weber. Boy, and how big is that run by Fale Lua, running from first to home on that double by Spexarth in the last inning.
Amanda Ayala reinserted into the ball game. So she will step back in to hit in the leadoff spot. Tennessee has that dangerous leadoff portion of the order due up. State 1 out away from victory. Tennessee 1 hit away from making it a 1-run ball game, 1 home run away from tying the game.
And you have that to work with if you're Emily Williams, but at the same time, you don't want to give up the 2-run shot, tie things up.
Ayala today is 1 for 3, had a base hit up the middle, her last time up in the 5th against Williams.
So Williams behind on the count here.
There's a fly ball to center field over the head of St. Clair. This will drive in a run. Back-to-back doubles for Tennessee. Lady Vols now have the tying run on in scoring position, and they have just erased half of the Bulldogs' lead. 2-1 now is the score.
Yeah, great piece of hitting here by the top of the order. Ayala is going to send it over to left center field and is able to get it over the head of Riley St. Clair. And that's able to get the run in from second base. Now Tennessee has a runner at second with 2 down, and they're a base hit away from tying this one up. And Tennessee, boy, they came in with a great mental approach here offensively in the top half of the 7th inning.
Well, making the move to bat Weber instead of Fox paid off, obviously. Yeah. And then Fox was put back in the ball game to run. She scores easily on the Ayala double. So we didn't see Tennessee get a barrel on the ball very much against Williams earlier in the ball game.
Until now.
But they have now gotten, by my count, 3, I think all 3 of their last hits have been doubles.
Yep, they have. And that's what Tennessee does so well. And if you're Emily Williams right now, you just take a deep breath, you settle in the circle, you do what got you here, you have confidence in it, and if Tennessee beats you, they beat you. But you don't want to unravel here mentally.
She's facing Chelsea Seguin, who has struck out twice against her and has not been able to get on base with a base hit today. Did draw a walk in the 3rd inning, but a strikeout swinging in both the 1st and the 5th innings against Williams. And there's strike 2. So Williams quickly out in front, 0-2, a strike away from victory.
Yeah, and same thing for Tennessee. Take a deep breath, exhale, and just do what you do as well. And may the best man win.
An out wins it for State. A base hit ties it for Tennessee. And there's a wasted 0-2 rise ball. The count is now a ball and 2 strikes on Seguin.
Boy, what a ball game we've gotten in game 1 here on this Wednesday afternoon.
It's been a doozy. And we have one more coming up for you.
Don't forget about that. That's right.
Coming up at 3:30.
Of course, I did say game 1, so I didn't forget about it. But
got her looking. Strike 3. Emily Williams goes the distance and picks up a huge win for Mississippi State. A victory over 17th-ranked Tennessee in game 1 of today's doubleheader.
Well, and I did not expect Tennessee to not swing the bat there. I mean, when you're facing 2 strikes, I know you may have felt like that was maybe up out of the zone a bit, but they weren't aggressive there, and a strikeout looking for Emily Williams was just icing on the cake for her and her performance in the circle. And Mississippi State took advantage of mistakes by Tennessee there in the bottom of the 6th inning, and that's what won them the ball game.
Your final score